This is a video showing you how accessible the London Transport Museum is. It is located in Covent Garden, central London, just above the River Thames. The closest accessible overground station is London Charing Cross, which is a 6-minute walk or roll from the museum. The closest accessible underground station is Waterloo for the Jubilee line. This is also an accessible overground station as well. This station is a 17-minute walk or roll from the museum. The closest bus stop is on Savoy Street, which is a 4-minute walk or roll from the museum. Tickets. You can buy your tickets online at www.ltmuseum.co.uk. Tickets are valid for a year, when you can visit as many times as you like. Concession rates apply to those over 60 years old, students with a valid ID card, and visitors with a disability. Those with a disability are also entitled to a free carer ticket. However, if you are on a means-tested benefit like ESA, Universal Credit, or pension credits, your ticket is only £1 and again is valid for the whole year. Opening times. The museum is open every day 10 AM to 6 PM with last entry at 5 PM. If you want to visit at a quieter time, the museum recommends visiting in the afternoon. Accessibility. The museum has a wide range of information about its access arrangements on their website. There is also a museum guide there for you to familiarise yourself with the museum before visiting. Wheelchairs. The museum has a wheelchair to hire for your use while you visit. The museum is spread over 3 floors, accessible by lifts, and has ramps linking exhibits on each floor. Hearing impairment. Induction loops are located at the ticket desk, cloakroom, library, and information desk. Any audio-visual exhibits either have subtitles or are fitted with induction loops. Hearing assistance dogs are welcome. You can request water bowls from the ticket desk. Visual impairments. You can request large copy highlight tours from the ticket desk and the information desk on the first floor. Magnifiers are also available on request at the ticket desk. Assistance dogs are welcome. You can request water bowls from the ticket desk. Additional needs. For those who have additional needs like autism, the museum opens outside of regular hours on certain special days, where you can enjoy the museum at a quieter time, free from the general public and with many of the gallery sounds turned off. These are called Early and Evening Explorer events, and dates are on their website. Layout. The museum is spread over 3 floors, all accessible by lifts. There are 2 lots of disabled toilets located on the ground floor at either ends of the museum. The entrance to the museum is flat, but the floor has cobblestones. However, these are relatively flat and there is a paved pavement running around the edge of Covent Garden you can use. I was invited to jump the queue being in a wheelchair by staff outside. The ticket desk was high but had a gap in the middle so I could easily see the woman, who was very helpful. There is a cloakroom just past the ticket desk where you can store your coats and bags for free. You can also store any pushchairs or prams here if you would like to. The ramp to the lifts is large but not steep. The lift waiting area is large and there is a bench by the door. Inside the lifts is a large space that would easily fit a large electric wheelchair along with many other people standing. The display explaining which floor you are on is large, and there is also a voice to tell you what floor you are on as well. The top floor gives you a lovely view of the floor below, with glass walls for those who cannot see over the top. The floor in the whole museum is smooth and flat. On this floor, some of the display boards are high and at an angle that made it hard to read from a wheelchair. This was the only area where I encountered this difficulty. Some of the exhibits are open for you to go onto. These are largely flush with the ground, making them accessible to go in for wheelchair users as well as those with any visual impairments. The floor is obviously the original and not smooth, but still flat enough to roll over. These old carriages give you an idea of how inaccessible public transport was back then. All interactive displays are at an accessible height for both standing and wheelchair users to interact with. The walkways of the exhibits are large and well spaced out to avoid being overcrowded, and whilst the displays are high, the font is large enough to read from a wheelchair. Any 3D models are at an accessible height for those in wheelchairs to see. However, they are encased, so those with visual impairments would be unable to touch and feel them. All around the museum there are benches located for those who need to take breaks. These are on theme too, which is nice to see. All videos in the museum have subtitles either below or to the side for those with hearing impairments. For those with visual impairments, there is a large print guide you can request which gives information about the videos on the tour. Longer videos also had seating for guests who would find it difficult to stand for a long period watching. A few displays with writing up high, the lighting obscured the view for those lower down in wheelchairs. The contrast would also make it hard for those with visual impairments to read too. Some of the exhibits are so large that for those set down in wheelchairs, they are very large and imposing and hard to see into. They are not enclosed, however, for those with visual impairments to be able to touch them. However, you cannot go inside. At the very end of the museum, just before the exit, the flooring changes to AstroTurf with a slight incline down. However, the AstroTurf is very flat and so easy to roll over. The disabled toilets are large and well equipped. There is space to the side of the toilet for transferring and multiple grab bars to assist with this. The emergency cord went down to the floor and the taps on the sink are automatic. The floor plan is large enough for a large electric wheelchair to turn around. There is a floor-length mirror and accessible height hook. Once unlocked, the door is automatic in opening and closing. Overall thoughts. Overall, I was very impressed with my trip to the London Transport Museum for a number of reasons. They have great resources for all disabled people, like subtitles on videos, large print guides, and are fully wheelchair accessible. They have great ticket prices for those on income-based benefits, also having disabled concession tickets and free carer tickets. Plus the bonus that these are valid for a year with unlimited entry is amazing. I will be back as I did not have time to visit the cafe or the shops. However, I was told these are also fully accessible. All the staff I spoke to were knowledgeable, polite and helpful. There were lots located around the museum too if you needed assistance at any point. The free cloakroom was great. I had a large overnight bag with me and was able to leave this here so it wasn't sitting on my knees. Very helpful. The accessible toilets were well laid out and very functional. Like any venue, there are a few things I think that could be improved to make the London Transport Museum even more accessible. Some of the exhibits were hard to read, either because they were tilted too high up, like on the mezzanine floor, or the top of the lights were shining on them like the high display boards. They could easily add an additional lower down sign for wheelchair users to read, fixed below the tilted sign, or change the position of the lighting to remove the glare and view from above. The nearest tube stations of Covent Garden, Leicester Square and Holborn are not wheelchair accessible, meaning you either had to get a taxi, bus, or walk or roll from the nearest accessible station. I got a taxi from Euston for £9.50. There's not a lot the venue can do about this. I doubt they have the ability to run a shuttle bus, as there are so many locations this could run from. If the nearest accessible station is too far to walk or roll, you can either get a bus, which is much closer, or a taxi, which dropped me just outside the main plaza of Covent Garden. Some of the large vehicles have such large wheels that wheelchair users cannot see inside. They could easily add a ramp alongside these vehicles that would allow wheelchair users to see inside them. It would also benefit younger visitors too. Thank you for watching. Have a really great day. Please remember to like and subscribe.